You already know what this guy looks like. So with this one, yeah, we're using thermal imaging. Okay. So what do you think we're looking for in here?
Just shapes, movements.
But how so? It's a thermal imaging camera. Or it goes hot?
Heat? Yeah.
No, it goes to cold. Right.
Yes.
So we're looking for cold spots.
Okay.
So looking for heads and shoulders, arms and legs.
Okay.
So obviously I'm red, orange, and yellow. So we're looking for blue and black. That's what we're looking for in this guy. Nice and easy. All you literally got to do is when I give you the cue, you hit that button, make sure the camera's on your left, and shoot. I usually tell people to do the belly shot because it's a Friday night. People get a little weirded out when we're filming around their cars and whatnot. Okay. So kind of keep that belly shot, and it'll shoot straight out, and just nice slow movements. That's all you got to do. Nice and easy. It's beautiful, and it is fun to watch. Let's go ahead and hit the stop button at this point. Now, parking lot. Congrats. You made it. Yay. Yay. Yeah. So this place used to be something. I told you I'm taking you to weird spaces. And again, most of the other ghost tours, they don't come here at all because there's nothing to see. Obviously, it's not a normal space, but this place used to be relevant to the history of Charleston. And this is probably where I first started to impress Mr. Steve, the history teacher, when I brought him over here. So this used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion site. So their mansion actually sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and went all the way across right to the exit where that car is going out. And then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space. So the plat of land was actually bigger than the way they have it cut off now, so it probably went a little bit further back to that second row of vehicles. So yes, I've been out here with measuring tapes and looking at things in the daytime when there's no cars in here. So I'm that weird guy that has to research everything. But anyway,
I love it.
Back to Eliza and Charles. Who were they? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues. Like I told you before with the art number 40. So that way I kind of know which Charles is actually coming through. Which, by the way, I'm not going to be giving you questions here like what color was George Washington's white horse. Okay. So I'm going to be withholding information on purpose. He's already going to know all the answers if he remembered anything. So we're going to see how much he remembers and see what he actually gets out of his spirit box. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay. But anyway, the son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Big deal for us, but I hate politics. We're going to move on. Sorry, Mr. History Teacher. But anyway, we're going to talk about Eliza. Much better story anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If she's going to ask her how old Eliza was when she got married, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial times that it came from. Expect today's standards. And I say that because her husband was over double her age when they married. Creepy age gap in the 1700s, creepy age gap now. Yeah. So she married him because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home. He wants to see him one last time. Eliza doesn't believe he's dying, so she stays put and gets married. In 1744, you don't get married then to get a green card because we're not a country yet. She married him out of love, and this is a true love story. Don't poke the bear. There's no love affair, nothing like that going on there. So anyway, not everything has got to be scary, right? So anyway, back to Eliza. She was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England, and one of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of, do you remember? Indigo. So, good job.
That's right. So, okay.
See, that's why you bring them. You know I'm going to challenge them.
We went to the 17th, 18th century dinner at the Historical Museum last night. So all of this information...
Is Eliza's dress still up there? I think they took it down.
I was going to say, I didn't see her dress, but there was a character that spoke.
Awesome.
Yeah. And he talked a lot about her, the gentleman that does the dinner.
So they actually did a big presentation in one of her dresses that was restored, and they actually had to lay it flat in a glass case because they were afraid of it hanging, on the mannequin was going to put too much pressure on the silk threading. So they did some repairs and they took pictures for the new Charleston History Museum book, and then they put it all back away. But what was cool for me, because I went the second day it opened. I couldn't wait to get in there because I talk about this woman every night. They had a lot of her other items out, which I found very interesting. And of course I had pictures galore and it was kind of crazy. My wife said, "Are you getting the book too?" I'm like, "I'll get it later. Let's get the pictures." So, but anyway. She's like, "You're at least getting the postcard with the dress on it. So at least that way we actually have it on the mannequin." She's like, "You're going to want that because you've been..." Anyway, we're actually going to Philadelphia this year to kind of go see her. I don't know if I mentioned that last time, but we got a trip planned for August. So, but anyway.
Can I stop and ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I'm getting in the land some small quotes like that. Do I just say that out loud?
Mm-hmm. Interrupt.
Okay.
Perfectly fine. I'm not offended at all.
Okay.
You're working.
Perfect.
So, and what temperatures am I looking for?
65 and below.
Okay.
But you're mainly looking for those 60.
Did I mess it up again?
Nope, you're good. But you're mainly looking for those blue and black areas. Like those are going to be much easier to see than trying to follow that blue dot around.
Okay.
So if you find blue and black, just make sure they're staying still.
Okay.
All right, back to Eliza. So where was I?
The
Indigo seeds, right? So you guys already heard probably a good bit of this from, wherever you guys are, the History Museum. But let's continue. So when she got the seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot and sticky here. I know what Coloradans actually probably believe, but
yeah.
it's not always this way. We actually get cold weather. So when she learned how to keep it, cultivated, then she had to learn how to make the dye. When she learned how to do that, she moved into a cash crop plantation down by the Stono River, got a hold of her father and said, rice plantations are going downhill. We're not making as much money, but we're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times, which is who of you probably already knew. So here's the weird thing. That's the boring business stuff that I normally bring up, and it bores the teenagers to death. So let's kind of get into some of the weirdo questions. I've already kind of revealed a little bit about the set of questions I was going to give you, but let's kind of go through them anyway. So with your particular spirit box, and you can just focus on these questions, you can say them out loud, whatever you want to do once we spread everybody out.
Oh,
but we're going to stay within these realms. I mean, we're a little lacking on space due to all the vehicles, but we're not going to go near cars at all, especially with you, Doreen.
Okay.
And we're definitely not going to go in between vehicles at all.
Okay.
So I know I kind of brought us to a much larger space, but again, it looks like a bunch of 5 weirdos standing in the middle of a parking lot with a bunch of blinky light devices. So once we start spreading out, then we can at least say that we're working.
Okay.
But anyway, the questions.
These are the questions that I'm going to kind of be either asking out loud or in my mind as we're just sort of
You got it.
here. Okay.
Her death. Age at time of death. What she died from. Do you guys know all this stuff already?
I don't.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Well, you do. So what she died from, where she's buried, which I've already given that away, which is Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then who was the pallbearer at her funeral? He was the president.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That you've heard of.
where,
yeah, that you've heard of.
what she died from,
Right.
her age of death,
Got it.
who was her pallbearer at
Correct.
her funeral.
Yep.
I'm missing a couple. Sorry.
No, just one.
Oh,
And I've already given you the answer for it. So you have the 3 majors.
where she died. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, Thomas, with yours, the mansion. Yours only gives us 1 and 2 syllable answers. So, obviously, it's what happened to the mansion, which you probably already remember. Secondly, when did that happen? So, you probably don't remember the exact date. Aha, see there? I got you. Yeah, that's why I'm giving you those questions. So, his only gives us like 1 to 2 syllable answers at a time. He's not hearing as much as you are right now. So, kind of keep that in mind. See, cars are going to come in and out of here, and usually says to turn around. Yeah, we always do. So this is kind of a brief stop on a weekend night, just so you know, just because of the amount of vehicles in here. So we're going to basically do like 1 full round robin, and I'll kind of see what's going on with all of your devices.
Okay.
And Steve, you haven't gotten any numbers yet? I hate to interrupt your text.
Nope.
Okay.
No, I was just looking at a picture.
No. Are we looking for her dress or something?
No, I'd taken
No.
a picture of the chair that Lincoln was assassinated in when I was in Detroit. It's
In the
at
Henry Ford Museum.
Wow.
That's it. How about that?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, there's some other stuff in there too, but we'll talk
Oh,
about
it's-
that
Well, who the
later.
hell wants to go to Detroit? No offense, but
Oh, it's a cool place. And
I've
there's
been
a-
there once.
really
I
cool
have no
stuff.
intentions of going back.
Next to Henry Ford Museum is a place called Greenfield Village.
That's where we were.
And if you want history and you
Yeah,
want
you would-
information
go nuts.
in an interactive set, it's amazing and it's huge. And Henry Ford built it all. Yep.
Kinda like
I don't have enough places to go.
There you go.
Speaking of which, looks like in about a year and a half, I'm going to have to take this to New Orleans.
Ooh.
Yeah, my wife is getting ready to start med school to be a vet, and there's not many of those near a tourism city. So unfortunately, poor me, I have to go to New Orleans, where it literally is you can spit on the ground and hit a ghost,
Right.
because that's the kind of place that it is. I've never been, but it was either there or St. Augustine. And I kind of voted on New Orleans just because I'd be a little bit more welcome there. I vacation in St. Augustine. I love it there. But they treat ghost stuff kind of like the way we treat it here. And I'm not always the most welcome type of event kind of thing that go on down here. So that's why I'm always very discreet about the cameras and those kind of things. And notice we're not using the giant camera tonight. So again, I'm always very discreet. So we're gonna spread out. Let's have some fun. Have you heard anything before we spread out?
No.
All right.
No, we just going on our own, or we're following you.
Oh, no.
Or...
Nope. You guys are you're working, so you two work together, and obviously
All
Steve
right.
and Thomas are going to work together. That way, she really take one of those earbuds if you want to help her out. So a lot of people aren't so great at this. That's okay.
Okay, great.
So have her
Okay.
help you out. So it's weird, but
Perfect.
yeah, go ahead and spread those things apart. I mean, and they're cheapos. Like they're just like airplane
Okay.
earbuds. So
Oh, so you can
And I will say, when we were in New Orleans, we did 2 ghost tour things.
Yeah.
And she picked up something on one of her cameras in a picture. So there's some really cool.
Okay, so that's your new base at this point.
All right. All right. What are we listening for?
All right, one more time so I can remember this.
Okay, age,
Age that she
Cause.
died. Cause that she died. And
President.
pallbearer. Okay.
just think of president.
All right.
Which president was at her funeral? That's
Oh.
probably easier if you don't want to go with pallbearer.
Yeah.
But just speak in plain terms if you're going to actually speak out loud. But a lot of people just like to focus on this because they're uncomfortable with talking to somebody that they can't see.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. You've never done this. There's no right or wrong way to do this, except for to have fun. If
Okay.
you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong.
I talk to myself. I talk to my dead dog sometimes.
There you go.
It
As you
happens.
should.
So I can
So-
talk to myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it up.
Thank you.
Now, how far do we spread?
I don't know. Keep it belly height. Belly height.
Belly height.
Yep. Age of that.
It only stayed for just a second. Right.
What did you die from?
Oh, well, you'll love that.
Okay, give me this. You keep doing your thing.
Huh? What's wrong? Why are you walking too slow? Well, I was trying to follow you.
President.
Kind of bummed me out. Took a job the same in the middle in South Carolina. 8th grade, yeah,
Age. Pallbearer. Yes. Hmm?
His full name is really lengthy, so you might not get the full name.
Okay.
You might get clues about him specifically. So I'm not gonna call it paranormal yet, but you're definitely on the right track. If
Okay.
something else pops up, then I'm gonna be excited.
Okay. But yeah, that was what was in my head. at the
Mason,
time.
of course.
Mason, of course.
Of course he was. That's gonna be hard for you to listen. Have you heard anything? basically, isn't there some kind of ball field down here where they're doing like fireworks? Isn't that where they're coming from?
Well, you
Baseball
got the
field or
river
something?
dogs.
Yeah.
It's
I don't follow sports, so it's one of those things. Even local sports, I'm like, yeah, I'm clueless. I just know that there's some kind of field down here. I just don't know for what sport. But river dogs are baseball, yeah.
yeah.
Katie, you got anything else? Or you want to start covering the answers? Just because this lot is so busy, so.
I think so, yeah.
Did you get anything crazy on yours?
Nope.
So Thomas actually heard a few things that he kind of remembered, I think. So he kind of got the right answers out of what he was looking for. So let's cover the answers, and then I'll tell you about the next space. It's a little different than this one. Every space we go to is a little different than the next.
Okay.
And again, this isn't a normal tour. Like, have you guys done history tours? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
normal history tour gives you what, about 12 to 15 stories total.
Yeah.
We cover 4. Like, that's it. And they're all completely different. So it's not like, oh, this politician, that politician. It's like this plantation owner, that pirate, that author, that duel. Like, those are the type of things that we're going to cover. So anyway, so Eliza, I always kind of show you what things I'm looking for when I'm going through your data. And again, it's really busy in here tonight. Sorry to cut this short, but I always tell Eliza, like, it's going to be brief in here. I actually stop here every night. I don't know if I told you guys this last time, but I literally stop here every night before I meet with you guys. Like, I cut through them. I don't know how many people I'm bringing, that kind of thing, just because it's a respect piece.
100%, yeah.
Oh, we've had some disrespectful ghost hunters on my teams, and I actually gave it a break for a few weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
I was going to retire the space, but decided to come back. Eliza Lucas Pinckney. So I use her maiden name because she's the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. You can stop your video now and kind of give your hands a break, by the way. So the first wife, just because tours are not allowed to come in this way, and I'm going to tell you how I got kicked out of here because that's the fun part of the story. So we got to be very careful. Was that what it was?
We gotta be so careful.
And then the other one was hottest
Topics.
topics.
I think hot topics.
It's weird. We actually had a somebody said something fire and then something else that was going on. There was a date that went with it. I couldn't find a tie to it specifically here, but that was just a few weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, I don't know that there is a tie. I'm just telling you, like, it's jogging a memory for me because again, I do this all the time. So.
Right, but how cool of a connection with both fire and hot.
Right.
Same.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So again, it's just one of those things. I may dive into it again just to make sure, but I couldn't find anything relevant at the time.
I mean, I don't know if this is relevant either, but like the minute we did one of the Nooks and Crannies tour, the Hidden Alleyways one.
Okay.
I
I'm
hit
pretty sure we
something.
came down. You're terrible with buttons.
Yes,
Just hit all my notifications. He's fine.
But
I can't tell you how many cell phones because different devices use different technologies. So like they're all synced into my Google accounts because I have to download apps and things like that for them. So, but anyway, back to you said the Nooks and Crannies tour. Somebody.
oh yeah, we've been down here,
Okay.
and just a creepy feeling when you walked right in.
So, what did they tell you the dueling story when you guys were here?
No.
What did they tell you about the place?
I don't think they did much about this area. This was just, we were walking down there.
Was it just a normal history tour?
Yes.
It was the back
But even still-
alleys,
Nooks
hidden
and
alleys,
crannies.
just something.
So they should have
Sure.
at least gone into the way the Charlestown wall was set up because this place was actually cut off between us and
They
Cumberland
did
Street.
talk about the wall a little bit, yeah.
But this alley specifically was where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston.
That they did not say.
So it used to be called Cow Alley.
Oh.
Okay, he did not know.
Yeah.
That he didn't talk about.
So I'm all about this is the kind of research I do to piece things together because
Yeah.
I need to know the evolution of things.
It's
Right.
ice cold in front.
I'm gonna get that camera in front of his face, kind of see if there's anything going on there. I do feel kind of a little bit of a breeze coming in from this way, but anything anomalous looking around?
No, it came from a blue button.
It's gone now.
I say there is a little bit of a breeze coming in from behind me.
And I feel a little bit of a breeze myself, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that wasn't the breeze that I'm. It was like ice cold.
I still can't believe they didn't tell you the story down here. So let me give it to you. This used to be called Dueler's Alley. It's called Philadelphia Alley now. So obviously easy to remember for me because that's where Eliza Pinckney is buried, right? So, but Dueler's Alley and by the way, it was named that because we had to rename it after one of our, many fires. Somebody who helped us out with that, which was Philadelphia, because dueling was illegal and stupid, and they wanted to get rid of the nickname. So it wasn't like an official name of Dueler's Alley. It was a nickname given by the townspeople. So it kind of gives you an idea of like where the name actually came from. Dueling was illegal, so this was one of the spots, not just the spot for dueling, but it was a main spot for dueling because again, it was illegal. They had to find a hiding space.
Right.
So here's how it goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So if you hear the brown-eyed girl on your spirit box, it's not ironic. It is part of his name. We get it here all the time. Kind of gives you an idea. But anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow she just got from her deceased parents. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. He tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes to Charleston to prove that he's not. He's going to start his medical practice down here since he just got out of medical school. The coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. He's dressed pretty nice because he just graduated from med school and he looks like he's got some cash. There's a gunman inside of where the doctor's supposed to stay. Somebody was walking by and seen what was about to happen because he knew the coachman. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop there because we're not doing campfire marshmallow stories like them up the road there.
Right.
We're doing ghost hunting. You need some details. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from. R.I. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. So, I will tell you that we were getting the letters R.I. all the time, maybe once a month, which is all the time for me, up on those spirit boxes. So I actually have a digital Ouija board. So it basically uses EMF, just like Steve's device, and stops the letters on whenever there's a fluctuation in EMF. So we would get the letters R.I. I've had it for about 6 months. We've had it at least 4 or 5 times as I'm talking about Ralph. So back to Ralph anyway. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. So come with me to 59 Church Street. Those are friends of mine. You can rent a room. You'll be safe and good to go. Doctor took him up on the offer. They become friends. Sorry, something just popped up and I was like, oh, we actually have another Thomas thing going on here. The name of the house now, we call it the Thomas Rose House. So the word Rose has been showing up here a lot and the name Thomas. So we have yet another Thomas going on. But anyway, so they took him up on his offer and they became friends, and the longer he stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. Amanda gets wind of this. She's going to move down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. I'm going to tell you that every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. So I'm reading a book right now by an original paranormal investigator named Hans Holzer. The book was published in 1963. You want to guess the name of chapter 3? The Whistling Ghost. So I was laughing my ass off the other night because the night that we had to cancel on you, I'm like, oh, I can start this book that I just got in. But anyway, it is hysterical. But at any rate, so they're going to tell all of their guests, be quiet, listen real close, you can hear the whistles. We have a video camera running, plus my voice recorder. If we're going to get a whistle, it's going to show up in one of those 2 ways, or on your spirit box recording. We've gotten the word whistle and doctor here in the same evening, and we've had whistling parts of songs.
There you go.
The voice is annoying, by the way.
Yeah, that's usually how they talk. So, and after coming to see me, by the way, I can't tell you, since you guys have come to see me, about 4 people at the end of the night say, Nick, this sucks. And I'm like, I know it's coming. You've just ruined ghost tours for me forever. Sorry. But anyway, back to Dr. Ladd. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. So they go see Richard III from Shakespeare. And on the way back, they're walking home, and they're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly. They go their separate ways. I told you Ralph has friends here. He goes to see his friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. You're a disgrace to society, sir, in short. Kind of a, slap, glove kind of thing. But anyway, Dr. Ladd saw the ad, and he rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. There's a whole lot of other ads that went back and forth, but I skipped that part. But they come down here, and they're going to settle everything over an actress, by the way. That's how the whole argument started. They came down, took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. The doctor points his gun in the air, and he shot his one shot from his flintlock. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd drops to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. Dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment, November 2nd of 1786. Sorry, I had to stop and remember that year. Because he was born in 64. And I keep waiting for the song When I'm 64 to show up on one of these spirit boxes. So he probably doesn't know that song. But again, that's what I'm looking for.
I do.
So I got it on vinyl. Do you?
Yes.
Oh.
Honey,
I'll
I-
give you a fist bump on
I
that one.
am old and I love old music. You
So,
got it, baby.
I got a nice
have
little collection.
45s.
I couldn't get my dad's 45s. He hung on to
Oh,
those.
these are mine.
Yeah, so I do have a pretty big, like I have a chest of nothing but Beatles in it. Like
Oh,
some rare
really?
stuff,
Okay.
yeah. But anyway,
Must have some Queen too.
yeah, I got some of theirs.
I got like Queen.
That's a separate box. Like the Beatles stuff gets its own. It's all in a cedar chest locked up. But anyway, back to Dr. Ladd. So again, every tour will tell you to listen for the whistles, but they also tell you to listen for gunshots. I have yet to have anything in 3.5, 4 years that I've been coming down here of any gunshots going on down here. It's always been whistles. So kind of keep that in mind. We get a lot of clues down here. The cool thing is we're not going to spread out in here. We're going to be looking for the bleed over into the next location. An example is we could have gotten Pinckney Mansion stuff while we were at Big John's and vice versa. Even though they're from different centuries, they cross over.
Okay.
So I stirred shit up over here. We're going to go up and around by St. Philip's Church and hopefully get more. But the gate before we leave, I've already told you. Oh, I didn't tell you how I got kicked out of here. That's the
No,
fun part.
yeah.
Yes.
So I've already told you that this was Cow Alley, right? There's a
Yes.
wall up there. That means those bricks on the other side are older than what we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. You were at the History Museum. They actually probably showed you some of those bricks because they're on display.
Uh-huh.
There's a full handprint from the slave child down at the end, along with some other fingerprint swipes off to the left. When I first started
cool.
doing this, I used to take my guests all the way through here. That was the route that I created. And I would show off the handprints, but keep in mind to treat the handprint brick the same way you do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that kid. Everybody, that particular night of November 26th of 2020, decided they're going to huddle around the brick and wait for something to happen with their spirit boxes and EMF detectors, and I know nothing's going to happen. He's not there. It's also outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful. I didn't know it was out of bounds for tours. So I have to follow all the tourism laws, even though this is more of an event.
Okay.
So the new owner came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because her dad's getting yelled at. And we moved on. Next day is Thanksgiving. I don't do Thanksgiving. Before I started doing this, believe it or not, I actually worked in retail management for Walmart for a good part of 20 years, upper management. So you can imagine I'm never doing Thanksgiving again.
No.
Next day is November 28th. I called my partner that I had. I told him what happened about me getting yelled at by the owner down there. And he says, he's laughing at me. He says, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway, or you got to reroute. That's the limit for us, is the halfway point, because it's residential. I decided I'm going to reroute and just stay away from the whole ordeal. So I told my group, I don't believe in the next story. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Yeah, obviously we're talking pirates next. So I said, and I've never had anything occur there in any way, shape, or form. However, before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating, which was the famous female pirate Anne Bonny. Wait, it gets gooder. We go over there, and I told them what little bit I did know about pirates, and I winged it, because tickets were much cheaper, and I can't wing it anymore. We get over there, and somebody else hears the number 300. I don't know what it means, just like the July 24th, I wrote it down. I researched it the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020, Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720, the exact 300th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So, keep taking you back over there. Night after night, it is a 50-50 roll of the dice. Worst case scenario, you're going to learn a lot of shit about pirates that you didn't know before.
There you go.
Because again, everything, here's my problem with the whole thing. Like everybody does the wow and jaw-dropping thing. I was pissed. Reason why, I'm a master's degree in creative writing. I need facts and data in order to do what we're doing here.
Right.
Pirate stories are created from pirate lore. So half my library now is based off of pirates. So wasn't happy about that. So I was just trying to piece it all together. Everything we're going to discuss at the next location, minimum of 2 resources, just to make sure we have as most accurate, data as we possibly can. Hopefully you're also going to hear things from Dr. Ladd, and we're going to obviously get him opened up once we get over there, so that when we're going to be able to have a chance to spread out. And I feel like it's warm in here again. Anybody else feel that way? Because I'm not feeling that
That
breeze anymore.
draft is gone.
Yeah, completely gone.
Oh, there's a draft.
Yeah. Well, let's go get into the nice open air, because we're
I
all
hit a
sweating.
6.4 just for a second,
And that's the only thing you saw?
just now when
Just
you said
now.
that.
Interesting. Yeah. Because again, up to 7-8 is normally what we'll get out of the lamppost while I'm standing near the gate. Which, by the way, the gate was kind of the shortcut when there was a loser to the duel. So remember, it was shut off this way to get over to the cemetery. So they would go through this way to get to the cemetery on the other side. Otherwise, you see how long the alley is. Imagine dragging a dead body all the way down to the end and then doubling back to get up to the cemetery. Yeah, kind of a crazy thought, right?
Yeah.
The wrought iron was probably put there in the early 1900s, but you can see the archway is definitely part of the original alley wall. So let's get out of this tour's way, or this family's way, and we're going to go talk about rated R pirates. You ready for this?
I think
Nobody
so.
got my funny joke. Damn. My daughter's all cracking up.
How old's your daughter?
My youngest, she's going to be 17
Okay.
in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. She's getting up there.
That's my team.
What do you think about Mark Smart trade?
I pay full attention to that now. I just love my team.
I don't like the Mark Smart trade now.
Yeah. Listen, listen, all I focus on is 3-point shots.
Yeah.
No. All right.
That's all they need.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, yo.
Good.
The good thing about that Bulldog store is they give money back to the preservation of Charleston.
Oh, good.
But like a tour like that, that's way too many people, and it's real generic.
Yeah. We did a couple of those actually one of those in New Orleans, and it's just too many people, and the damn tour guide, bless his heart, I'm old. And I try to keep up with her, but he was like out there, and half the time I was 6 sentences behind when he started talking.
How long are y'all gonna be in Charleston?
We leave Monday,
Monday?
so Sunday is our last day. Oops, pardon me.
One of my favorite spots is the Yorktown, the aircraft carrier. It's in Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing. Look into it if you're interested.
And you know,
It's like a military maritime museum on an aircraft carrier.
Steve, you are like deja vu for me, I just got to tell you. Because I posted on Facebook that we were here, and my husband's brother was in the Navy. And his wife, Sandy, he passed away a few years ago. But his wife, Sandy, saw the posting and told me about the aircraft carrier that's out here. That, is it the sister ship to the Oriskany? Does that sound right? What did she
I'm not
say?
familiar
It's
with
somehow...
that. Is that a destroyer? Because they've got the Yorktown, the Laffey. They used to have the Clamagore.
It's an old aircraft carrier that he was actually on in the Vietnam War.
Okay.
And she's like, if you get a chance, you need to go check that out.
Yeah, you should. It's amazing.
Katie, Steve was just telling me about a ship that is
Yorktown, yeah.
is an aircraft carrier.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
told him to
remember
go
what
see it.
Sandy was telling me about? Yes, my brother-in-law, was a Navy in the Vietnam War, and I think this
They
ship...
have the Medal of Honor Museum there. It's an amazing place if you like maritime history.
Yeah.
It's top notch.
Now, this ship was the sister ship to his Oriskany.
Oh.
So she Facebooked me today, actually, I think it was, and said, if you get a chance, you should go see this. I told Steve, he keeps bringing up things, I know. He's like, deja vu.
Well, us locals, we're going to tell you where to go.
Yeah, we'll tell you where to go.
I love it.
So, I did write down all three things that you told me.
Okay.
Unless you have more.
No, there was a reggae song, but I really don't know what the lyrics were.
Okay.
I know it was reggae.
Yeah, you know for sure that it was reggae. And you weren't listening along the way because we were chit-chatting. He's going to get a chance to listen here. So, this is a very popular tour spot. Again, we're going to stay out of the way of the other tours. You guys have already seen, and he was looking at me, as we passed that tour in the alley, and he's like, they don't know what they're missing. I'm like, look, dude, this actually isn't for everybody. I was like, I've had people leave 1 or 2 star reviews because they didn't get it. Like, they don't understand the science behind history and that kind of mess, and why we're trying to gauge what we're gauging out here. So, again, it's one of those pieces, like, they're getting what they paid for. So, again, I know my tickets are pricey, but there's a reason for it. You get this personal touch with everybody. Well, everybody gets this personal touch for me, I guess is the right word. So, Jake, you guys had a group of 8, I believe, last time. 8 or
Well, I was just telling her that it's great what Bulldog does, giving a little bit back, but the tours are very generic. That's
Yeah,
what I
they're
was telling
scripted.
them.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm scripted too, to a point, but I at least make it sound like a conversation. And I know which keywords I have to say in every story to make sure you're going to be able to listen for certain things. I have to say the word doctor X amount of times when we're over in the alley. I have to say the word kneecap at least twice. There are certain keywords. That's kind of the thing. So again, it's not like implanting it into you subliminally, but it is.
He said, by the way.
He said.
He said.
Again, it's
Just so you know.
those generic ones I don't always write down. I'm just glad you're listening and hearing things.
Yes.
Some people suck at this, believe it or not, and they will not tell me a single thing all night long because they just can't do it.
No, she's into this. She's good at this.
Well, wait do you see what I'm going to do to her at the next spot?
Okay. One thing I like about you, and I have to just say this because that's just who I am, you are very down to earth.
Yeah.
And I like that because
Okay.
a lot of
I'll take
them
that.
aren't. It's just,
Yeah.
you know.
It's scripted.
Yeah, it's very informal. It's very impersonal. That's the word I'm looking for. You are not.
Let me tell you, this is a funny story. You'll get a kick out of this, Steve. So last week, we were at the Big Red Barn, right? I'm doing my shtick, right? And I got, I don't know, 10 or 12 people there. Like, I know all of my people's names at that point, so I'm good to go. I know where all the blinky lights are and who's got what. All of a sudden, this couple comes creeping up by a guy about your size, just creeping up behind him, and they're just kind of listening in like this. So I stopped. Can I help you? Oh, are you guys on a ghost tour? I'm like, no, we're ghost hunting. Did you find anything? I'm like, you need to go. Like, they were poaching.
Right.
Because they thought, and that's part of the reason why I like having the gear, they don't. They could have just slipped onto one of them bulldog tours and they would have never known it. They count heads and say, I got my 20, well, let's go. You know, they don't check names, and you know, notice when you two showed up, I'm like, Katie and Doreen.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's one of those, like, I need to know, like, nobody's going to answer to Katie and Doreen except for Katie and Doreen.
Right.
So I had to stop and remember Thomas's name. I just saw him 2.5 months ago, but I saw probably 300 to 400 people in between them. So I had Steve's name because when I went to go text him this morning, I was like, oh shit, he went on 411, because that's how I date your guys', like, that's your address. So when he shows up again, I have to go back and look at his data to kind of get a gist of like, oh, let me see what he's got going on here. So I looked briefly at their tour, see what they had, so they have something different this time. Try to remember his name. I listened to the audio. He talked very softly. It's like, and he also didn't say his name after his dad. So I must have went from like Steve to Doreen then Thomas. So normally at the beginning, that's why I do all of your names again.
Oh.
Yeah, so that way I can go back and do that again. So again, I'm a clever guy. I'll put that out there. But thank you for the compliment.
Oh, absolutely. And she'll tell you, I don't
know
say
we're not
anything I don't mean.
She really doesn't.
It makes
I
her
lived with this
crazy.
my whole life.
That's the second time I've heard that in the past week. I was talking to a guest that left a 5-star review, and her review was, I was once a skeptic. It was like, once upon a time, I was a skeptic, and then I met Nick. And I was like, oh, okay.
I was going to say, I read some of those reviews, which is why we went with you, because I wanted something different. Obviously, I watch this all the time. I'm into researching it. I'm into that kind of thing. But you're also respectful. The fact that you just said you hate Zach What's-His-Face from... Yes, him. I mean, that...
Zach with no C.
That put you, like, already in my book, because everyone I talk to are like, oh, he's awesome. It's like, okay, I'm done talking about it.
I get to bump that guy all day
Kid
long.
at school about it, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm done talking to you.
I actually have more respect for Sam and Colby than I do for
Yeah.
Zach Vegas.
Well, you know what really gets me off about him? Is he yells at the ghosts. He screams at them. Nobody's going to talk to you if you scream at me like that. Sorry.
That's okay.
my feeling. But anyway.
I say we learn about pirates. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm so ready.
We're going to talk about that little tiny building over there.
Ooh,
with
I
the
just got a 20.
A 20? Where's your cell phone?
Huh?
Where's your
My-
cell?
Over here.
I'll take a 20. I don't normally get anything in here. That's pretty high. Like,
When
that's,
you said pirates, it hit 20.
imagine that. Okay. Make sure I write that one down. That little tiny building is the gunpowder magazine. Those are not crosses on that building. Those are earthquake bolts. For you non-locals, earthquake bolts. Did you guys hear about those on your history tour?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So they're turnbuckles, right? So if we have another earthquake, you can tighten the building up. It'll, tight, so we don't. It doesn't incur any further damage. Is basically the
It
gist of
says
it.
60. It says it's...
I don't know. Those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. That's the reason why we're here, actually. It's because you can see how crude they are, but earthquake bolts don't actually work. It's a great idea. It doesn't work at all. So they left them in because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. This, Getting a lot of numbers.
I am.
I've been there 3 times since I went on your tour.
Really?
There, yes.
Do
My,
they know
my
when they
other
come
son that loves that place.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of just the architecture.
Yeah.
I don't talk about the architecture anymore because it bores teenagers. But again, the architecture alone, like if you want to see how that building is made, spend the $5 or $6 it takes to get in there. I have a season pass, which is $12. Like that gets me in every time I want to go. But anyway, that building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start her new life. So you watch all the TV shows, you've seen the Boo Buddy, the teddy bear? Mm-hmm. So picture that, and they're trying to attract a child ghost, right? Because it's familiar to the child. Same principle. This is a building that Anne would recognize. So there's not many buildings this old here in Charleston, but that is definitely the oldest government building in South Carolina. So again, that's why we're here. The hope is that she's going to be here the same time we are. And that's where we're going to get our answers from. But anyway, the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government, Doreen? Small building, 10 years?
Yep.
I was going to say no, I'll answer for you, but she beat me to the punch. Anyway, right in the middle of the construction is where our story begins. So follow me, you two. There's a lot of twists. Steve probably already knows all this pirate history and lore, too. So, 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you guys with me so far? Mm-hmm. The 3 of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was she that they had to leave Ireland and come here by boat? Yeah, it's 1708. There's no planes. She's pretty pissed. Anyway, they land in Georgetown. It's between us and Myrtle Beach, so it's about an hour and a half from here. Okay. So Dad bought a plantation in there, and then Mom died pretty quickly. So that means he's sending young Anne here to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat, hence the familiar building. Go back to Ireland for just a moment. Anne was a badass even back then. They say when she was 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, nothing is exact, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. We do get the word servant, knife, and belly from 3 different devices without the other 2 people knowing what's going on all the time. So kind of take that for what it is. And it shows up in a lot of her stories. Fast forward, the building is done in 1713. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. Why? She is going to fall in love. So she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world at this point. First guy she falls in love with. I said first because there's a handful. We're going to go through them. That's what makes the damn story so interesting. So, first guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned her pirate name. Dad didn't approve. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. When they get down there, she realizes James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. The guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This is not who she wants.
Okay.
A few years go by, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. Sorry, this humidity is killing my throat tonight.
I'm okay with you.
So, anyway, guy number 2 is John Rackham. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just in case you were wondering who the hell this guy actually was.
Oh, okay.
He has his own ship, he has his own crew. Anne wants to be part of the crew. Can't put a girl on a pirate ship because it's bad luck. He makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to keep her from his wife. She gets it. Put 2 and 2 together. Most of us are adults here. Sorry, Thomas. But she's a female in his quarters. Yep. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female. So he drops her off in Cuba. Have the baby here, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. No book will ever tell you what happened to that child, by the way. I've read most of them. Anyway, she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack angry.
Body of Christ.
We're near the church. You're going to get a lot of religious.
Okay, just
so
in
you
case
know.
you're curious.
Jack is angry because now everybody's going to know that he let a female on the ship, right? So while she was gone giving birth, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting to make him even more mad. That's who Anne is. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. Now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So these are names that you can probably get out of her. But anyway, the 2 became lovers, possibly friends. We don't really know what's going on with these 2 because, again, the history's lost. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one measly pirate ship. The rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks, probably because they didn't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. 2 ladies with flintlocks are not going to work out. They obviously get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at Jack. She says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, Jack, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog comes up a lot, as I'm sure you can imagine. Anyway, the judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried to hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. So Anne and Mary go in front and reveal their gender. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies, was what they shouted to him, because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He was an attorney back home. He bails her out, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very
Holy
abrupt.
cow, that's old at
Yep,
that
especially
time.
for the.
Yeah.
We've already talked about a 70-year-old woman during the
Yes.
1700s. Now we got one who was 84.
Wow.
She was born in 1698, died in 1782.
Wow.
So that's all we know about her, because we don't really know much about her. Some say she went to Virginia, some say she stayed here. We know for sure she definitely changed her name, and we have no idea who the hell her descendants are, which is very interesting all by itself. But Mary Read, she dies 5 months later, in April of 1721, in that Jamaican jail, from whatever pirates die from, in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Make it romantic. Call it scurvy. Most books will tell you that was, some kind of fever. I'm going to call BS on that one. A couple of things I left out of here because I'm not going to assign questions. Oh, that's more people sending me money. I'm working here, bro. But anyway, the questions I left out on purpose. Again, ask whatever you want to here. This is not a prominent English woman, if you're getting my point. Know your ghost.
Got it.
So, poke the bear. I left out the name of her parents. That's the father and the mistress. All right, that's why I say them specifically a couple of times. So you don't know what their names are? Ask Anne. Maybe she'll tell you. Normally it shows up in one phrase. It might come up on either spirit box. It's normally not separated, like you're going to get the father, he's going to get the mother. It doesn't work that way. It usually shows up on one.
Okay.
It's really weird. I don't know how it works, but it does. Second thing I left out is Calico Jack's ship. So if you want to ask what his ship name was, by all means, do so. This is an odd one. So again, it's a very weird scenario on how we actually get the answer. What's been coming up more and more, I don't think I brought this up on your guys' last tour because I just started doing this about a month ago, is the city where Anne grew up in Ireland. So again, that's been coming up here and there. So I want to kind of get some more questions to Anne. And obviously the color of her hair is red, so that's an easy one if you just want to get a conversation piece started. Again, other tours love to come through here. We're just going to stay out of their way. We're going to spread out a little bit, kind of see what we get. I'm excited about the 20 that Steve's already got. So again, I don't expect anything here because we do have 2 electrical poles way up there, so I would expect like a 7 to a 10 over in those corners just because of electrical poles, and then maybe a 5 in the middle because of the parking meters. But back here, I don't expect anything. I'm stoked about that. Heard anything? You're on mute. You can go ahead and unmute yours.
I got what is love at one point.
And you did get a religious phrase. What was that?
Body of Christ.
Body of
Body of
Christ. Because that
pretty
was real loud, by the way.
Yeah. Well, we do get a lot of that when we're here because of St. Philip's is our tallest steeple.
Oh, okay.
We get a lot.
And
of
I have
religious.
seen nothing as far as low numbers, as far as...
And your camera, I'll be honest, is not always a real-time thing.
Okay.
It's all about the review. I send those videos to YouTube so you guys can watch them on TV. I watch them on a computer screen. So
Okay.
that's one of the smaller cameras that I have out of the 3. So that one, even when I have my groups of 12, is not one I follow up with in real time. That's why
Okay.
you're a videographer, and I usually set them up, that person, you, with somebody who has what Katie has, so that we
Okay.
can help out.
Okay. Yeah, I want to play with her toys. I like those. Hey, you. I get to play with your toys. You said we could play with your toys.
What?
You said I could play with your toys. I want to listen. I don't like my toy. I'm not doing anything. I want to do something. I will follow you. Trying to get on this side of you. You can do it. Ask your questions.
He's a naysayer. I try to.
a demon? Is there a demon with us? Is there a demon over here? That just said yes. Dogs. I just went over here and asked if there was a demon over here because she said she heard demon and I just got a yes.
And how do I feel about yes no question? Doesn't prove anything. So I'm not even putting demon in the notes, to be honest with you. Like, I'm just not that person. I know it's a weird thing to hear on the radio.
It
And
is,
it
but
could be
it
like,
also could be anything
Right.
coming from a jumble of words. So
Right.
I agree with that.
so again, 50% of it is going to be gobbledygook. So,
Like I said, I'm just telling you whatever is coming to
yeah,
me.
good.
What I am hearing clearly, you are hearing right now.
It's okay, because I'm going to go through that recording when I get to the office.
Great.
So that's the whole
That
point of
also
our
makes me
recording.
feel better, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, so for every 5 minutes, I listen to 1 minute. Whatever I find in 1 minute is what I find.
Okay.
So when I get called to another team, like they want help with something, it's because of what I'm able to do with those.
Very cool.
So I can do them on any speed, any model. Just that's what I do. That's my expertise. If I had an expertise in any of the type of equipment that I use, that's it right there. And I don't know if it's because it's words and I'm a writer and I can piece it together and not take things in the context that they were said, but look at them as a more broader sense.
Right.
You know, like you heard the word demon. Obviously, our first thought is we're ghost hunting. It must be something dark and massive. But it could be
Right.
like just let me get the demons off my chest, kind of thing. Could
Right.
be an-
Or also, it could be with Bible,
right.
mother,
Right.
demon. I mean, that could all go together with something else.
Oh, I kind of know where mother's coming from. By the way, have you
Okay.
heard anything else besides that? Yes.
And then the garden death.
The garden, I know exactly where that's coming from. So, boring Doreen. So, have you seen anything?
No.
Okay. All right. I say we get the answers, and I tell you about the next space because
Okay.
there's not a whole lot going on here with pirates. With the clues you're giving me, are dealing with something else.
Oh.
Hashtag.
I love that.
Pirates don't know what the hell a hashtag is.
It's a motto.
It's a pound sign to them, and that's in weight.
Can I check this out for a second? Just for
Yeah. It's recording. This is your
Okay.
night, sweetheart. It's not mine.
Great.
So it's recording. I'm going
And
to go
not
back
white
with
noise
the
for a second.
earbuds in and kind of take that for what it is.
Cool.
All right, so
Yep. Like headphones, everything.
yeah, well, we're going to cover all of that here in just a minute. But go ahead and stop your video.
Oh,
Kind of give
good.
your hands a break.
Thank you.